What up, it's your boy Thomas T, better known as the Monkey King, aka Martial Arts T. That last part, aka Martial Arts T. Um, I got that from Pharrell. Well, I kind of adapted it from Pharrell. You know, he called himself Skateboard P, and his name is Pharrell Williams, with a P. And, everybody either call me Tom, Thomas, or T. So, you know what I'm saying? I went with martial arts T. You know what I mean? So this is me. But I need to live up to that. And this is my vlog, my journal of my martial journey from this point on in my life. Because this is one of the things that's the most consistent thing in my life is my love for the martial arts. If I'm not in the gym and I'm not, let's say communicating or going back and forth with individuals. When I say going back and forth, I mean just talking about it because it's our mutual interest. I'm studying it, and especially the ones I highly respect, the arts I highly respect. But my love is the grappling arts. Well, the grappling arts number 2 and Japanese martial arts number 1. So, I always loved the Japanese martial arts. Name 1. That's the basis. My mom, when I was younger, tried to get me into Tong Sudo, Taekwondo. None of them could really grasp or hold my interest. When I got older, the first art I got to really study was ninjutsu. And I was interested in ninjutsu before I even met Charles Bond, which was ended up being my instructor for some years. And my mom drove me out to the Quest Center one time and said, go in and see how it feels. Because I sat on the couch, talked to her about it, and she found out where it was. And she took me to it one night, and that was big. So, took me there. I went in, talked to the instructor, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the head instructor. My mom had a conversation with Stephen K. Hayes himself. And she said, well, I'm going to see, I remember like I said, I'm going to see what he think of it. Then after that, we'll let you know. She knew I wanted it. She knew I wanted to train martial arts, and she was willing to try that. Walked out, got in the car. I told her, like, Mom, I ain't feeling it. She was like, huh? I'm like, nah, that ain't the place. She's like, but this is the only place that teaches what you want to learn. Well, they advertised it. The other place would have been Kurt Rittenhouse Martial Arts, but at the time, she didn't know. Can't fault her for that. My dumbass fault. Okay, and needed my keys. But so fast forward some years later, working at this little store inside the Dayton Mall called Very Oriental. It's not there no more. It's been remodeled. That part of it has been remodeled for a long time now. But a guy and his friend came in, and this is when Charles Bond comes into my store, and his best friend, James Brown, God rest his soul, and we get to start to chatting it up. He gives me a business card to Aegis Progressive Martial Arts. Well, Aegis Progressive Martial Arts, I'm sorry. And, I told him I'll be there. Redid my schedule for work. Went up there on a Tuesday, I think it was. Met with him, signed up, started training with him. Then, I ain't gonna say it was a disagreement. They came to an equal conclusion. Like, my instructor decided to leave. Charles decided to leave Aegis Progressive Martial Arts because the way that he was teaching and doing his ninjutsu in the way the other guy was doing his Filipino martial arts were looking very similar. and they didn't want to confuse any students, especially the older students and whatnot. So he left. I left with him. That's where I met a lot of people. That was the beginning of learning about doing martial arts as an adult in Dayton, like a lot of different things. If it wasn't for my love for the Japanese martial arts, training in jiu-jitsu, I wouldn't be doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I probably wouldn't have no interest or have as much respect and love for Brazilian jiu-jitsu as I do. But the fact that I can complete, and like everybody I know has received either a black belt or that's in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I've noticed is have a black belt in another art. And that's one reason why they sell. Or is at a black belt level basically in a collegiate art, like, you know what I'm saying, wrestling or something like that. If you look at the time period that somebody done spent in Taekwondo, judo and whatnot, getting their black belts, or Tang Sudo, Muay Thai getting their black belts, if somebody's been wrestling basically since middle school all the way through high school and even was captain of their team, that's damn near a black belt equivalent level, you know, because they got the techniques, their style and the way they move is down pat, their shots, their sprawls, everything is there. So everybody was like a black belt level. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a Tang Sudo guy. I'm not a Taekwondo guy. Never did. None of those arts could ever hold my interest. But it was always in my heart and my love because I knew it made it work. And I made it work at I want to say beginner, and I was getting better at an intermediate level with my postures, or now I know that they're properly pronounced, my kamais and whatnot, through sparring and just going out and testing myself, or what some call pressure testing. It always stuck with me, no matter how many people tried to bad talk it or whatnot. And I'm like, man, I wanted to find something. So when Charles decided to stop teaching completely, after Jay's passing and everything, before I came back to Dayton from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in pursuit of stuff, I was actually still looking for a ninjutsu instructor. At the same time, I said, even if I gotta learn a distance, and I was already planning to have to leave and spend maybe a couple of days and take a week off from work, or even if I had to quit one job and then find another job and then leave for a week and stack my money, I was planning on doing that. You know what I mean? Just to continue my journey in ninjutsu. And a lot of y'all might be looking now like, ninjutsu, you want to be the dude in it? It's more to it than what y'all want to downplay. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't give it the respect because of whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's a joke to a lot of people, but it's a love-hate relationship in the martial arts world, in my opinion, when it comes to ninjutsu. You know, but I'm not just learning ninjutsu because I found someone to learn not just ninjutsu from, but also the Koru, the classical, historical side of it, which gives me something, and it's going to also, with learning that way, helps me with my focus, my determination, and everything. And I mean, I've always kept it in me. Some people are like, oh, you dip and you dabble. No, I've tested my techniques, or the kamais that I was taught from one person, out in the field. And that's how I look at it when I step on the mat, I step in a gym, I step into a cage, I step into anything. Charles told me one time, he's like, when you go into somebody's gym and you go spar, look forward to losing more than winning, because you're only a white belt, you're only a purple belt, you're only a green belt. You're at the beginning stage. You're not a black belt. I'm not expecting you to win. I'm expecting you to come back with questions. Because when he beats you, he taught you something. Because now I got something to come back and say, hey, I was sparring yesterday at so-and-so's gym. I was doing this and that, and then this happened. It gave me questions. I knew how to be a humble person. That's kind of ahead of your time. You know, some people at that time would have been like, don't go sparring. You're going to misrepresent us, blah, blah, blah. But he was like, go, I need you to ask me questions. Anybody that's a martial arts instructor loves when they get that question from the student, whether it's a kid or an adult. Hey, this, and this. But the only way you get those questions is when you go out there and you rolling with other people, sparring with other people. Now you got, and then if you get beaten, pummeled, now you have a question to ask your coach, instructor, or whatnot. Hey, this happened. Do we have an answer for that in our art? Or yes or no, maybe, whatnot. That should incite an instructor, you know what I'm saying? Some that's just about that money and, you know what I'm saying, trying to toot their own horn that don't need to be tooting, they're going to try to sway you away. A real one, no matter what their title is going to be like, word, let me show you. And they're going to show you. You know, now what happened? Boom, okay, here. Did they tell you what? Yeah, my friend said I was doing this too much. Okay, so we're going to fix it this way. And they're going to work with you because they know your situation. And that puts you above everybody else in the class that's basically twiddling their thumbs and not saying nothing. You know? So, right now, like, what really pumped me back into, like, making this vlog and getting myself back into shape and working on my diet and everything else and making sure I got stuff in order was my son returning back to his school this year at Richard Allen and then passing his test to get his green belt. I looked at his green belt, I'm like, oh, nah, dog, I got, like, you know what, forget it. I know everything now. I have my answers. I got to get off my ass. And that's what I did. Because that's the belt I stopped at with Charles. And with my experiences, it never scared me away from the Japanese martial arts or anything like that. But it kept me chasing it, you know. And that's one thing that kept me away because, and please, nobody that's, you know, in the jiu-jitsu, please understand, I mean no disrespect, and I don't. But this is just me. I mean, this is just a personal thing, an inner conflict within myself. Not necessarily a conflict, but it's just a thing with me, you know. But I felt like that excelling in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before I completed my training, and I know I can I can continue my training and get that black belt in, you know what I'm saying, the Budo Arts, that, you know what I'm saying, it would be kind of disrespectful. You know, I done told this person knows of me, I done opened up that door, but I'm still standing on the damn porch, you know what I mean? And they're like, come on in. I've been waiting on you. You're a good guy, come on in. But I'm still standing on the porch twiddling my thumbs. Because I'm like, man, I don't want to leave my homies. But now that I take the time and actually follow directions and listen, you know, I multitask. The time is now, you know. And better later than never. There's a lot of guys that start at 45 and pursue it and then get their black belts at like freaking 52 in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm going to be back on the mats very soon. Just finishing up a little personal stuff with the house. But in the meantime, I'm getting my stuff to continue my journey in Budo. And I'm posting this up so everybody can see it. I'm not giving up on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but at the same time, I just didn't want to, I didn't feel like I was ever all the way on the same level as everybody else because I'm leaving something undone. And it's something my stepfather told me. You won't feel right until you finish what you started. And I put a lot of time, effort, patience questions and making stuff habit into what Charles Bond was teaching me. When he was teaching me those, postures, now that, or kamais, now that I know they're really called kamais. Well, shit. I should have known they was called kamais by the titles of some of the titles that were. He just was saying them wrong and learning how to pronounce them correctly, getting that cultural exchange also, So it's one of those things that sometimes a person has to get over, go back to. But I understand Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of people don't understand Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fully, and a lot of people want to take BJJ and put it in one big ass box and just leave it there on a shelf when it's not that box. It's wider, it's more expansive than what a lot of people think. It's very inclusive, I should say that, compared to a lot of other martial arts. And that's one thing I love about BJJ is how inclusive it is. And I know it's not going to interfere with any training I do outside of it, period. Because there's a lot of practitioners that take Muay Thai, still wrestle, still do judo, still do a whole lot of other stuff. And their BJJ training just complements it and helps enhance it and make them more intense. Sometimes make them a better, at whatever other thing they're pursuing. Let these cars go by. But for me personally, like, I'm with a great team, an awesome team. I'm with an awesome instructor. I've grown a lot not being as goofy, you know what I'm saying? And, there's just a lot of things that, like, when my mother's passing, I never took time to grieve. I didn't take time to grieve for a long time. Grieved. Did what I had to do. Now I'm pushing forward. Some other things, personal life, took care of those now, It's like, hey, I got to move forward. It's me and my son. I look at my son. I want something I could pass down to him, I can give to him. Or if I have another child between now and in a few years, can pass down to my other son or daughter if they want to learn once they get old enough. And they say, Dad, I want to learn this stuff, and they're really pushing for it. I would like to be able to pass that down and explain this stuff to them, see them get into it. And as they're learning, teach them some things here and there. Go for the literacy part of it first, and then after that, the physical aspect. That way they can learn to pronounce certain things correctly and amongst just doing them. So that's me, and that's why I wanted to make this quick little video. Sorry, it's 18, but yeah, man. The Budo Arts. Historical, classical, samurai, ninjutsu. And don't just think it's about swords and throwing stars and everything like that. It's more than that. And second, I don't want no jokes. You know what I'm saying? First thing I'm gonna tell you, can somebody come in here with a pistol and use their training in you? Because that's what you're basically saying, the same thing. You know what I'm saying? If you wouldn't do it to somebody that was in the armed forces, don't do it to somebody who's basically learning about warfare and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? Because it was part of the lifestyle, part of the community back then, and it's more to it. And just like you wouldn't want nobody to joke about you in your life, shouldn't joke about somebody and, their stuff. That's my thing. But throwing this out there, getting this little walk on, I'm happy. I'm a whole lot further than I was, and I just gotta keep pushing and keep going further every day, and not let certain words deter me, not let certain things deter me, but to read in between the lines and push forward. But I'll be back to the mat at Empower LLC with Ghost Team BJJ, you know, with Neil, Yancey, my amigos. Full blast, keeping my mouth shut and taking in my knowledge there. Rolling, getting myself better, getting my weight down. And to tell the truth, stock is I'm looking right now, probably I might get lucky to make 170. Tell the truth, I might be stuck. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna try to get down to like I want to get well under 200. Straight up, you know. I'm like at 215 right now. But yeah, man. It's a long little video. I thank y'all people for watching. Hit the like, subscribe button if you know me. I'm throwing this on Facebook, throwing this on Instagram. This is my thing. I'm on my journey to Budo. And I ain't gonna say, yeah, you trying to get your black belt? Black belt is just the start of everything, you know what I mean? I'm just getting my fundamentals out the way. Short-term goals, long-term goals. You know, that's me. So, once again, it's your boy Thomas T, the Monkey King. Y'all see it up there. Martial Arts T. About to live up to this name. Just stick with me. Deuces.